Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to A Happier You Leads to a Healthier You and a Happier and Healthier Recovery and Healing on my YouTube channel and From Darkness to Light. I'm your host. Y'all know who I am by now. Thank you guys for joining me for this episode. This episode is also going on A Happier You Leads to a Healthier You. It is also going on You Are What You Consume, opening Pandora's box, and pretty much all of the rest of my podcast from you minding your own business to with self respect leads to self love, finding your inner peace and tranquility, and also the old you versus the new you. And I might put this on African Melanin Queens. I'm not sure yet or not, but I might put it on there. But don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button to receive notifications of my videos. A little bit about me. I am a certified recovery, healing and recovery coach. It's all about helping people on their paths and their journeys and their purpose to a new and better you through self discovery. I specialize in helping people to overcome the things that are keeping them from being the best version of their selves, whether it's family, friends, spiritual situations, spiritual warfare, financial, relationships, your internal and external health and wellness, also your spiritual, psychological, emotional, and mental health. So, the one thing that I try to do when it comes down to helping people is trying to get them out of trying to fit society standards and not going down the red pill that is of the matrix. Now, a lot of people have this tendency of choosing the red pill. And the reason why they choose the red pill because they would rather go down the situation and go through it than to sit back and watch everybody else go through it and decide after seeing these people go through it whether you want to go through it or not. Doing your research, your due diligence, and making sure the things that you really, truthfully speaking, really want to do. Now, first of all, Happy New Year's and Merry Christmas past to everybody. I had the flu, so I wasn't able to do anything from Christmas Day until now because I really was not feeling well. So I'm still technically have the flu, but I'm here, but I'm better than what I was. I also had a very bad ear infection, which was the reason I was having anxiety, come to find out. But the big test is going to be when they fix my ear, as far as the infection in my ear, whether or not it's going to help with my driving. We will see. Because when I go back to Florida, I have to go and have them put something in my ear to see if that is what the problem is. Because something was pressing up against my nerve, which in terms was causing all of these different issues of anxiety, which wasn't exactly fun. But I've been taking my ear drops and stuff, so they've been helping. But today we're going to talk about how what you consume and what you acknowledge is going to impact and affect your health and wellness. Now, the reason why all of my podcasts have a lot to do with that is because every part of my podcast centers around healing and recovery from a health perspective, just in different forms of it. But my health and wellness, when it comes to the physical side of it, in 2026, I think our focus should be about trying to cleanse yourself of all of your parasites, all of your stress, all of the things that have been holding you back as far as mental health, psychological health, emotional health, and also the things that, let's say, for example, you lost 20, 30 pounds, right? And you got down to your goal. You get down to your goal, and now it's what happens next. For some people, they'll continue what they've done to maintain the weight. Some people stop right there. And because they lost the weight, they feel like that's all they have to do. When that's not how any of this works when it comes to healing and recovery. It doesn't stop because you get over it. It doesn't stop because you move forward from it. It doesn't stop because you achieved your goals. Now you have to maintain it. Now you have to set other goals of how you're going to maintain it and how you're going to continue to maintain it. That's like saying you become wealthy and you make all this money. Now it's about how do you maintain your wealth? How do you maintain your business? How do you keep it successful? So there are other goals. You will continue to have goals no matter what, whether you reach your goals or not. Just because just because you get married does not mean that's it. You just walk down the aisle and that's it. There are goals that you have to do in order to maintain that marriage. When it comes to having children, yeah, you have kids. What happens now? Now you got to raise them. So now you have to figure out how to raise them and still be an adult and still have a regular life and still be able to live and travel and do the things you used to. Well, the problem is that the lie detector determines that is a lie. Just because you overcome things don't mean that negativity is done with you. Doesn't mean that negativity is going to stop because of the fact that you reached your goals. That would be a lie. That's like saying you finally found out what is going on. Now you have to fight to heal from it. Let's say you have cancer and you went through all of this to fight and then it spread. Now you got to fight a whole nother battle. That is how pretty much it works. Because the one thing about pain is it doesn't stop because of the fact you've achieved or overcome one goal. Negativity does not stop because you've gotten through some of the worst times of your life. Now, you close chapters. A lot of people go right back and reopen the chapters they closed. Some people, even though they say I'm not having any feelings for that person, will still continue to sleep with them, continue to go back to them, and continue to go through the same craziness that you've been going through. That just made things worse. So just because you have overcome one battle doesn't mean there's not more to come. The whole goal of your journey is to get better and better at being able to spot negativity, being able to distinguish the difference between what the devil brings into your life and what God brings into your life, being able to distinguish how to go about not letting somebody destroy your self esteem, self worth, and self value, not lowering yourself to build other people up, because that's not what you're supposed to do. You're never supposed to let anybody lower you or belittle you or use your flaws and imperfections as a weapon against you. The new version of yourself is supposed to be unstoppable, meaning, unless somebody physically put their hands on you or you dead, there's nothing that no one can do to stop you from achieving your goals. Nothing. You can handle setbacks. You can handle anything that come your way. Nobody can say anything to make you come out of character. Nobody can mess with your inner peace and tranquility. Nobody can use your self-esteem, self-worth, self-value, self-respect, self-confidence, and you believe in yourself and no one else does, as a weapon against you. Nobody can lie, cheat, manipulate, bamboozle, lead you astray. They can't scam, con, nothing. There's nothing they can do because you already know. You know in every angle how somebody is going to try to come at you a certain way. You know how to, no matter what, continue the path that you're on, and nobody can take you off of it. Now, don't get me wrong, people may try to deter you, people may try to get you to come off that path. You may have to sit still for a little bit because there's a storm coming and you got to sit still while that storm is coming, but you're still going to get up, you're still going to brush yourself off, and you're still going to continue going. When you heal, it is about maintaining your healing, not just obtaining it and then continue doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's one thing that negative people have this tendency to do. They will continue doing the same thing over and over and over again and get the same results until they either get caught, they're dead, or they in jail somewhere, or they just lose everything. So you can't continue to keep hitting rock bottom the same way over and over and over again. You can't keep staying in the same environment that is tearing you to shreds. You can't keep trying to get love from people that just ain't never gonna give it to you. You can't not accept the fact that rejection may be a part of your life, and you're not always going to be chosen. You're not always going to be accepted. And even if you are accepted, even if you are chosen, doesn't mean it's going to be the opposite. Just because you're chosen doesn't mean you're accepted. Just because you're accepted doesn't mean you're chosen. So it's crazy how in this lifetime we're constantly searching for things that for some people can get very easy. For other people, they got to work twice as hard. They got to constantly keep trying to go over mountains, go over hoops and bounds to get somebody to love them. And the thing about it is, if the purpose of what it is that you're trying to do is for the wrong reasons, then it doesn't matter. Because even if you lose the weight, even if you get the person that you want, it don't mean that you're going to be happy. Because I have seen this happen where people will get the person they want and they still will be miserable. And they'll still wish they never dated them. Because it's like saying that there was a guy you want dated in high school. Your 10-year anniversary, you see them again. You done lost 40 pounds. You look fantastic. This person is overweight, an alcoholic, and broke. And now you looking at this person and asking yourself, why did I have a crush on this person? Just like when you look at every man you slept with or every woman you slept with, you want to ask yourself, why did I sleep with these people again? Why did I do this again? Why did I waste all my golden years on people that weren't worth me? Why was I chasing behind being these people friends so bad? Why am I sitting in prison right now? Why is this person in the ground right now that shouldn't be in the ground in the first place? Earlier today, I was thinking about my ex that died when I was 16, died in a car accident. And I asked myself, what would have happened if he'd never gotten that car? How would his life have been, 50 years later, now that I'm thinking about it? And I cried because Chris Brown played a song, and it's by Tory Smith and Chris Brown. And it's Do I Ever Cross Your Mind? And I cried. And it says, pick up the phone, I'm sorry. I'm all alone. I'm calling. I'm sorry. Do you ever think about the good times? And I just started crying. Why? Because there isn't a day that I don't think about him every day. There isn't a day that I don't think about what would have happened if he would have survived. There are some of us that can never get the person back that we loved. Some of us can't even get our mothers back or our parents back because they died of illnesses, diseases, or however they passed away. And we have to keep going even when these people are no longer here. That don't mean those people every day ain't crying for these people, ain't mourning these people, asking, what if? There are people that lost their children from being unalived, and every year they have to celebrate that person's death and their life, and it's hard because you can't get that person back. You can't pick up the phone, you can't call them, you can't say sorry, you can't make amends, you can't hold them, you can't talk to them on the phone. They're no longer here. And yet you got people out here that are sitting up here doing people dirty for no reason. And there are people that wake up every morning wishing to God their spouse was still here, their mothers were still here, their fathers were still here, their siblings were still here, their family members were still here, their friends were still here, and yet they're gone. So it's really crazy how people have so little regard when it comes to human life. And it's sad, honestly. It's just like all this stuff that these Republicans are doing right now. When it comes to taking away Medicaid, taking away the discounts for the Obama, aka healthcare.nub marketplace, the fact that they're trying to, it's a lot of walking contradictions, I will say that much. It's a lot of walking contradictions. And I've noticed that when it comes to government, there's a lot of walking contradictions. It's a lot of people that claim they're Christians, they claim they're all about God, but you remind me of the Israelites and the way the Israelites were. They remind me of the same people that crucified Jesus when they didn't believe that Jesus was who he was, that he was the Messiah, that he was the Son of God. That's what these people remind me of. And I'm sitting up here and I hear people talking about they want people to have kids, they want people to get married, but yet and still we have a bunch of things that are temptations to people to make people commit infidelity. The strip clubs, the sex industry. They will not get rid of the sex industry, but you don't want nobody talking about sex. They won't get rid of anything that is considered going against everything that is of God, but yet racism seems to be the biggest thing going on right now. Everybody's more worried about racism, discrimination, diversity, and division than they are about the sex industry that is destroying millions upon millions of marriages. You got women out here being side chicks, you got men out here being side dudes. You got women out here that are raising children by themselves because they believe that some man loved them and believe they were going to get married. And so they ended up having kids out of wedlock because they had sex out of wedlock. But you don't hear nobody talking about abstinence, and you don't hear nobody talking about celibacy, how to go about remaining a virgin. I don't hear nothing about that. But yet you have a lot of grown men going after girls twice their age. So being that there's so many walking contradictions in this world, how in the world can you survive considering all the walking contradictions that there are? Another example of it would be you can go to one doctor and they'll tell you, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Then you go to another doctor and they tell you, oh, by the way, you got an ear infection. That's why you're having anxiety. When I've had 3 or 4 doctors look at me and they told me they couldn't find anything, when the whole entire time I had an ear infection. So again, it goes to show people see what they want to see. So you can go to 40 different doctors and they'll all tell you the same thing, and have one doctor that tells you exactly what it is that's wrong with you. Go figure. At the end of the day, like I said, there are so many walking contradictions that is not even funny in the United States in particular. So people claim they're about certain things when in all actuality they're not. They're all about the 7 deadly sins of greed, sloth, vanity, gluttony, wrath, vanity, and I always forget the last one. And lust, that's it, lust. So when you have a whole entire country that's all about the 7 deadly sins, or what I like to call the Robin Hood stage, where you rob from the rich and give to the poor, but this time you're robbing from the poor to feed the rich. Go figure. So all I honestly can say in this situation is that how can you make it in a society where you don't even make 100%, of of your talent. So for example, I said in a video that basketball players, football players, athletes, celebrities in general, regardless of who they are and what field they're in, they don't make 100% off their talent. They're the ones acting, they're the ones performing, they're the ones playing in these games and stuff like that. They're the ones that's performing, but yet these CEOs are the ones that are making money off what it is that they do. So how is it that you think you're better than somebody that works a regular 9 to 5 job when you're still working for someone else? And these people are getting paid off your talent. So what makes it any different than somebody that works a regular 9 to 5 job? It doesn't. Also, you have people that create businesses and a company starts doing well. Now you have people coming because they want to invest in your company because they want your patent. And you're like, no, I'm not trying to sell. Now they're making millions of dollars and now they're still trying to come into your company. And you're like, no, I'm not interested. They try to get the prototype because they need a prototype in order to copy what it was that you did, but they can't because they don't even know how you created it. It's just like somebody has a company doing really, really well. Then somebody come to you, like Bill Gates or somebody, and say, I want to buy your company. And you're willing to sell it, not understanding how hard it was for you to even create your first business. And now you're going to turn around and sell it and it's doing well. Why? Because you want cash, James Scott Fair. You want what you want and you want it now. So everything that you consume, everything that you acknowledge, everything as far as what you experience, how you grew up, things like that, determines how your life is going to be. So either you're going to let your past define who you are, you're going to let your flaws and imperfections define who you are, let what happened determine your self-esteem, self-worth, and self-value, self-respect, and confidence and believing in yourself, or you're going to move forward, continue moving forward, and not worry about the past and use the past as stepping stones to get to something new and something better than what you already had or what you already did. So the whole point of being a new person isn't just about being that new person until somebody breaks your heart or until somebody hurts you. It's you being more careful, you doing more research, you prepping yourself for anything that come your way. You being very selective, having non-negotiables, boundaries, and standards. When it comes to your health and wellness, it's about clean eating, eating healthy, not putting nothing in your system that's going to cause stomach pains or cancer, um, leukemia, whatever else. So when it comes down to spiritually, it's going to come down to your faith. It's going to come down to believing in God, even when you may not feel that God is there. You continue to walk through the journey and letting God walk with you, letting Jesus lead you, or whatever your spirituality or whatever your religion is. Because I'm not somebody that discriminates with religion and belief, but we all know there's a higher power. We all know that. But have you ever thought to ask the higher power to show you before you walk into it what you're going to be facing? Have you thought to let God lead you through the situation, telling you when to sit still, telling you when to move, if you do decide to go through with it? But you shouldn't, though, because if God is showing you what the truth is, you shouldn't even want to go down it because you see that it's not going to work out well. You see that it's going to have a bunch of complications. So I just want people to understand that when it comes down to what you consume and what you acknowledge, it determines what decisions you make. Your action, your behavior based upon your choices and decisions, and how those choices and decisions, action, and behavior impact other people, and how other people's vice versa impact and affect you. Huh. So everything that you consume can either be good or bad, or it can be addictive, or the body will reject it. But when you become a new person, it's about cleansing your body of toxins, bacterias, cleansing yourself mentally of things that are holding you back from your greatness and keeping you from being the best version of yourself. It's about continuously walking through the shadow of death. I fear no evil. It's about allowing the Holy Spirit to do what it need to do. It's about continuing to keep on moving, even when everybody else tells you to stop. You keep going, keep moving, keep doing and being the best version of you. Continue to work hard, continue to be dedicated. Even if you are alone and you don't have any friends, any family, nobody to support you, if you continue keeping going, you will see that you will meet your tribe, you will meet your people, you will meet your family. Even though the biological family that you got may not appreciate or value you, you don't forgive people for them, you forgive them for yourself to be able to move forward. And once you forgive, then you move forward and never bring it up again and move on. And that's it. Don't keep trying to throw something in somebody's face that happened 20 years ago. How is somebody supposed to change when you don't even give them the ability or the right to change or even time to show you that they've changed? If you keep throwing in somebody's face what they did, why are they going to change? They won't. They're not going to change. No matter what, they're not going to change. Why? Because you're not giving them the room and the opportunity to change to be the best version of themselves. This new year should be about maintaining what you have and building around it, meaning that as long as you have a safety net, then anything new that comes in your life is something that comes because of the fact of the hard work and dedication that you have done to maintain that, pretty much. So don't let anybody stop you from being great, from being the best version of yourself. So, like I said, what you consume and what you acknowledge and the decisions, the choices, actions, behavior that you do have consequences and repercussions and karma. And no matter what, it's going to happen. Your blessings are not for everybody. You're not supposed to lower yourself to build somebody else up. It's not your job to make a non believer into a believer. You're not supposed to allow people to bamboozle, lead you astray, manipulate you. You should be at a place where you know when somebody's lying. You should be able to sit back and just observe sometimes. Sometimes it's not always about being right. Sometimes it's about sitting back and observing and letting things play out on their own. And when they do, that's when you'll realize what I said was true. So I get it. So when it comes down to being in these situations and consuming things in 2026, you don't have to, because you acknowledge it, react to it, act on it, behave. You don't have to do anything. You just see it. There are so many things that we see that we don't act on. But when your feelings are involved, if you don't have emotional intelligence, then you're going to be a wild child. You're going to react every time somebody tell you no versus saying, okay, I guess it ain't meant for me to be there. We never once say, well, maybe it ain't meant for us to be there. Maybe it ain't meant for us to have this job. Maybe it's not meant for us to do certain things. So again, like I said, you know, in the end, things are changing. And we have to understand with change either come growth or it may seem like it's going to change, but it ain't. So we have to realize that When you let other people tell you who you are, when they haven't even walked in your shoes, don't even know your story, don't even know what you've been through, and you're letting someone else tell you what your story is, nobody has the right to tell your story. Nobody has the right to tell your story if you're not the one telling it. Nobody can nowhere near understand why people do the things they do. So again, if I read something about something that happened, I know that there is a reason why it happened. There's always a cause and effect. I do my research. Now when I meet people, I don't just give them the benefit of doubt. I sit back and observe. I play chess, not checkers. I live by the 48 laws of power, and that's the way I live my life. But in the end, 2026, you should be very careful on what you consume and what you acknowledge, because you don't know how it's going to impact and affect you negatively or positively. So be very cautious and being very careful of what you consume and what you acknowledge. Stop letting people tell you who and what you are and what you should or should not do. It's not for any of us to make that decision. It's really up to you. Because in the end, you are an individual, you're not a group. So when you consume something and when you acknowledge something, there are consequences, repercussions, and karma of every action and behavior. There just is. Every choice and decision has a reaction to it. So just because you do something to somebody else doesn't mean that person doesn't have the right to react. But here's the thing, the new version of you is going to ask, why should I react to this individual? Just because they put my whole entire life out there. The question is it true? And how can you prove that what you're saying about me is true when you have no evidence of it? So sometimes you got to use your critical thinking before you start cussing people out, going off on people. Because the minute that you do, that person already won. The minute you respond, that person already won. But if you remain quiet and just say, you know what, I'm not going to say anything, I'm just going to continue doing what I've been doing, hey, and continue going on with my life, then life will be good. But if you continue to worry about what everybody else got to say about you and you not stand on the path that you're supposed to be on, then you're never going to get nowhere. Because see, the one thing about negative people is they don't want to do the work. A lot of them are miserable. These are people that just want to destroy you because you're doing well. These are people that want to leech off you, be friends with you because you have something they want. They want to use you to get women because you're now the big celebrity and now all these women want you. So now your friends are basically around you because you get girls or you're someone that always can get dudes. So you have to realize what the hidden agenda of what people are and why they want what they want. So don't let negative people use your self-esteem, self-worth, and self-values or anything you've done in your life that were mistakes or anything embarrassing in your life as a weapon against you, because they weren't there when any of this stuff happens. Now, mind you, when they can't get to you, I went after a sex cult. I can say this from experience. When I tell you these people tried to go at me in every which way they could, when I tell you they tried to use my family, my friend, my job, my landlord, everything they thought they could use against me as a weapon. But here's the thing, I never entertained it. Why? Because what they don't realize is I healed because of it. Because of what they put out, it made me look at a lot of people differently. It made me see a mirror of myself. Like the never ending story when you see Mateo looking at the mirror and he sees a little boy reading the book. And a lot of people don't understand the correlation. Well, the little boy was reading the book as the story was being done. So as that story is being done, no different than a cartoon, no different than a movie, you are sitting and actually watching the movie. You're watching it. And so being that you're watching it, guess what? That producer wrote it, and you're now watching what they wrote. When people write books and become movies, or somebody draws a cartoon and it comes to life, you're now watching it. So you're now that character. You're now different characters in the story because you're watching a story that you relate to. Only difference is in real life, you're not there when the story was told. The only way the story really can be told is if a person write a book or they talk about it, or it's something that is public. Like if somebody lose their life to domestic violence, or somebody unalives their parents because the fact that they want to be with some boy or whatever the case may be. So either way it go, for me it was a mirror. For me it was a mirror of me seeing my life based on their interpretation of it. But they have no idea how way off they were. But when I was looking at it, I was seeing it as chapters being closed, things that were holding me back being removed. So every time they did their videos, they weren't doing nothing but relinquishing a bunch of negativity from my life. They were breaking chains, breaking me out of a cage. They were unchaining me. They were taking and removing ropes, things that held me tied down, things that were the reason I had low self esteem, low self worth, low self value. That situation was the reason my self esteem is what it is now. It is the reason I'm not ashamed of my flaws and imperfections because of that situation. That situation made me a better person. That situation made me stronger. That situation actually healed me mentally. That situation made me have to see things for what they were, not what I wanted them to be. It made me have to accept a lot of things that I didn't want to accept. But guess what? I had to accept it. And now I do. Now I do. So, what I would say to people is sometimes when people expose you, depending on what it is they're exposing you with, look at it in the mirror. Now, if you've done wrong and you've been exposed, then understand there are consequences and there are repercussions and there are karma for your action, behavior, choice, and decisions. There are. Then a lot of people ain't gonna want to face because they're not gonna want to accept the fact that they did what they did and they hurt other people and now they got to pay for it. They're never gonna want to do that. They're never going to want to accept the consequences and repercussions and karma of their actions, behavior, choices, and decisions. So, really, like I said, a part of me died in that situation and a part of me resurrected. The old version of me died, a new version of me resurrected from the dead. So, despite what these people did, they actually did me a favor. They didn't break me, they didn't make me miserable, they didn't destroy me when I lost my job because 3 months later I got another job and was able to pay back my landlord every single dime that I owed him. Because in the end, God was with me through this journey the whole entire time. God was not going to let them win. I just had to stay strong because when the day that I left that sex cult in that situation, God was the one that told me to leave. He told me to walk away. So again, when I got sick, and I had to have emergency gallbladder surgery in 2021. No, I think it was 2020. 2020, I had emergency gallbladder surgery. God was with me every step of the way. So even though I went through a lot, even though I chose the wrong people, even though I tried to make people like me and love me and appreciate and value me, and all of those things, being Captain Save a Hoe, Build a Bear, Build Doll, Seafillers, and people pleasers, I am now by myself. because God pulled me from the world, because God was tired of people destroying my life. God was tired of me not loving myself and believing in myself and not knowing my worth because I didn't think I deserved anything. That because of my flaws and imperfections, no one would ever want me, no one would ever date me, no one would ever want to be my friend. So in the end, here we are. And I'm still standing despite it. So again, what you consume and acknowledge determines your self esteem, self worth, and self value, but also your freedom of choice. There are people that want to control your freedom of choice. They want you to do what they want you to do and not what you really want to do and what you should be doing. It's just like people that work for 65 years. Jobs weren't even supposed to be where you worked for 65 years. Jobs were originally for people to eventually be able to build something that is of their own, to be able to make something that is of their own. Well, they changed that. And now here we are. Where now we work to 65. Some people even working now to 80 years old. People can't even retire no more. So it's like trying to take a lemon juice out of a lemon that has no more juice to give. But yet you want to keep squeezing and squeezing and squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. We have all this stuff going on in the United States, and yet they give money to other countries. Being involved in other countries' business life, the United States don't have issues, but here we are. So again, you're always gonna have these type of issues. You just are, no matter what. But in the end, just gotta keep going. That's it. So with that being said, I just want to come on here, just say to y'all that 2025, be very cautious of what you consume and what you acknowledge. Don't let your feelings be the reason that you react to things and you end up suffering because of it. Don't do something that you can't handle the consequences, repercussions, and harm. Because I'm more worried about God's wrath than I am anybody that is a man, to be honest. Just understand that for every action, there is a reaction. And in this society, people are allowed to do whatever they want to you, but you can't react to it. You have to sit there and let them do it. But there's a way to handle it to where you can handle it and it not be to where there's any consequence. But sometimes you do have to walk away from negative people. Sometimes you cannot entertain negative people. You just gotta ignore them and keep going. Everybody has flaws and imperfections. Some people's flaws and imperfections for the world to see. Some people's flaws and imperfections are internal. But nobody on this planet is better than you. Nobody on this planet is perfect. Everybody has made mistakes. Everybody. There's not one person that's perfect except Jesus. At the end of the day, like I said, we are all not perfect. But it's not about how we fall, it's about how we rise. And that is what matters more than anything. So, all I'm saying is maintain your health and wellness, maintain your healing and recovery, maintain your peace and tranquility, and keep your non negotiables. Those things are going to matter more than anything in the world. But if you want one on one coaching, you wanted to sponsor my channel, products and services, or be a guest on my podcast, you email me at asha.mariama01@gmail.com. That's asha.mariama. And with that being said, I just wanted to come on here, say hello, and I hope you guys have a very beautiful new year. And I hope this year is going to be great. This year on the podcast, I definitely will be having guests on my podcast this year. Trying to get my podcast syndicated, trying to start, getting products and services to be able to promote on my podcast. I have so many things that I really want to do on these podcasts. I want to continue to grow them. I want to continue to evolve them. Start doing one-on-one coaching. Start doing, retreats, motivational speaking, writing books, creating courses, teaching my courses. That is one thing I am going to do, teaching courses, making jewelry, and being a travel agent. So I have dreams and I am making them happen and I am putting them together. And God is amazing because I was going to lose my job next week. And somebody called me about an interview today. So, like I said, just got to keep going. But that doesn't mean if I get another job in what I do that I'm going to not create my business, because I'm definitely going to create it. But once I get it to a certain level, then I'm not working no more at all. My goal is not to work for nobody, because the way the society is, working is not even worth it at this point. It's not even worth the time and energy as far as working at this point. But here we are. So I'm going to continue to give you guys great conversations as far as conversations that I have with different people. I have some coming up on Monday, that will be posted because I already posted some. I have some free conversations coming up that I might post some of them. So I'm really looking forward to, building something that's going to help people and creating a legacy for my son and for my family that will live on past me. 'Cause I don't want to be one of the people that pass away and I have nothing that is left behind to help people as far as healing and recovery. I want to leave something behind. But I also want to be able to travel, see the world. I want to be able to get up when I want to and just enjoy life. So we'll see how that goes. With that being said, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button to receive notifications on videos. One more thing. The reason why y'all have not been able to see me is because my Mac computer is messed up. I'm trying to get it fixed. Hopefully, I will be able to get it fixed soon. And with that being said, y'all will be able to see me once I get it fixed. Or if not, when I get my taxes back, I'm gonna get another computer and get it fixed. With that being said, I love y'all. And I will see y'all next time. Bye, y'all.